second part of the webinar series, RTL Self-Care. And we all know that stress is all around us, and stress often throws us into a lot of challenges. And RTL Self-Care has been designed to discover how to respond to stress as an opportunity for us to grow ourselves and others. I invite Classica to take this beautiful session forward.
Thank you, Gayatri. Hello, everyone. My name is Classica and really care about peace and joy for everybody. So RTL Works is committed to realize the Sustainable Development Goal through constellation of individuals and organizations, committed to equity, dignity, and compassion for all. RTL is not just a methodology or toolkit; it's just the way of being. And this webinar series is part of the lead out to our RTL Self-Care workshop and offering of the RTL Global Mental Health. We deal with the stressful situation in our daily life, from personal struggles to cultural and systemic challenges. RTL Self-Care helps to respond consciously by anchoring us in our universal values, allowing us both inner resilience and outer transformation. The training evolved through multiple versions and was first piloted in 2022, rooted in neuroscience and psychology. Its root helps shifting disempowering patterns in the society to the life-enhancing patterns. And during pandemic, this work deepened when RTL team offered self-care training to the frontline volunteers, highlighting how collective well-being is equally important and inseparable from our own. So with this, I would like to hand it over to Srilata to introduce.
Thank you, Classica. My name is Srilata, and I care deeply about dignity, fairness, and full potential for myself and for others. I just want to build upon what Classica and Gayatri have shared. So the RTL Self-Care is one of the verticals of RTL Mental Health, which is being hosted by the RTL Works, the organization RTL Works. Now, the foundational belief of RTL Self-Care is it's important for me to take care of myself, and I am capable of taking care of myself. I'm capable of, because I am universal values, and I have the capacity to be in action, and therefore I can take care of myself. Because in any change that you and I want to make, it is about how do I learn to renew myself. Renewing myself and towards a result is one way of self-care is one way of renewing myself so that I can be in action. And it doesn't matter whether I'm ill or well, I can be in action. And therefore, another premise is that all of us are leaders in this course. We believe that in RTL, that we all are leaders. We take action at home, at workplace, and in society in order to create new futures and in order to transform unworkable situations in these locations. And when we do that, we foster well-being for self and others. So one of the things that RTL Self-Care does is it uses the cutting-edge neuroscience, psychology, and RTL tools and templates in order to create game-changing responses and to realize the full potential of all of us. So with that, this is a broad overview of the program. So pretty much like what they said, this was offered in 2022. Now we are offering an abridged version of this course. We initially had about 22 sessions. We have an 18 session offering, in August and September. And we will talk about the upcoming workshop in a couple of, at the end of this workshop. So we will now begin with this webinar. This webinar, as Glasika said, is a run-up to the upcoming workshops. So Glasika, may I request you to introduce the speakers of the webinar?
Sure, Shalata, thank you. So our speakers of the sessions are Sharif, Bonivoi, and Noili. Thank you, Noili. So I'll introduce them all. So Noeli, how I have experienced, and I'm happy to introduce Noeli. Noeli is a compassionate leader dedicated to equity and well-being. She's based in California. Noeli brings over 8 years of experiences in the nonprofit sector at NAMI Santa Cruz County. She has led the expansion of peer-led, culturally responsive mental health programs, especially in Spanish. She is a trained RTL practitioner. She collaborates deeply with community funders and agencies to support youth and adults on their mental health journey. Welcome, Yoli. Thank you for joining us. And we have Sharif. So Sharif is a community coordinator from Vidyavardhini Foundation Trust. And how I have experienced him as a very grounded person, and his simplicity and commitment towards his work always inspired me. And the way he connects to everybody from the space of values that he cares about, that always create the space for everybody to include. Thank you, Sharif, for joining, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have our third speaker, that is Monimoi. So Monimoi is a mental health professional and doctoral scholar, Department of Psychosocial Support and Disaster Management, NIMHANS. And Monimoi, very happy to share this platform with her. Journey we started as a classmate, and seeing her in this space, it's really great. And how I have experienced her as she's being her ability to think critically, to be able to see the divisive, disempowering, invisible patterns of the society, and then her commitment to address those by really grounding in what she cares about. She cares about justice, so that she can create a space of fairness to all. So welcome, Monimoi. With this, now I'll hand it over to Monimoi to start the session. Yes, Monimoi.
And thank you all for being here today evening. I know it's a Sunday, and we are here to talk about self-care. So Glasika has already introduced me. My name is Monimoy, and I deeply care for justice and courage for myself and for others. And RTL has been an important part of my life since 2020. So I'm glad that RTL has given me the opportunity to speak about self-care. So self-care is a term that we hear almost everywhere. If you go to your workplace, if it's like a college orientation, the first thing they'll talk about is how you have to take care of yourself. But honestly, RTL is the only place that has actually taught me how to implement self-care in my day-to-day life, be it in family, in workplace, or just existing in the society. And I'm very excited to share some of my learnings with you all today. So my first learning is that my values are for myself as much as it is for others. One of my favorite practices in RTL is to declare the values I deeply care for are not just for others, it's also for myself. And that is not something we usually do. I entered the field of social work thinking about bringing justice to people. I never thought that I should also be included in that space, that it should also be for me. I have heard the term self-care everywhere, but everywhere I work, they always say you take care of yourself, but I have never put it as a priority. So I've I've worked as a psychiatric social worker, and when I was in that role, I worked for my patients from morning till night, and I did not pay attention to my biological needs. I isolated myself from my family and friends, and soon I realized that I am not being able to work from my full potential. I realized that I cannot pour from an empty cup, and it is justice only when I take care of myself, when I take some time out for myself, replenish myself, and then go work for my patients. Uh, Only then I will be able to function to my fullest potential. So, while this is my first learning, I will now move on to my second learning. Uh, my second learning is in the space of my family. So, in this, I've learned that when I practice self care in my family, while being anchored in my values, it helps me break generational patterns which are dysfunctional in nature, and it has the potential to create a space for equity and justice. Um, Growing up, I have never seen the women in my family engage in any sort of self care. Um, it was almost normal that they were the last ones to eat. They would eat the maybe the smallest piece of the uh, food they will make, and they would be the last ones to go to sleep after cleaning. And when they're sick, also they would not express. They would just keep working. So that was what was normal. I saw that growing up. And I noticed myself fall into similar patterns when my mother was away. She was away. She had an illness and she needed to be treated. And I was left with my father to take care of him and the house. And I realized I was doing the same thing that my mother would do. Uh, when I realized this initially, I reacted from a space of very heightened emotions. I reacted, I spoke from a space of aggression. I would tell my mother to change her ways. Though it came from a space of care, I said it because I cared, but she did not take it that way. It was not a productive discussion. She did not entertain that discussion. Uh, then I realized that it's not necessary for me to change others. I do not need to change the behavior of others. I can act. I can do this. So, what I did is I acted in a way to bring in balance so I could practice self care while taking care of my father. Small acts like having food at the same time as my father, or when we would clean up and go to sleep, he would also stay with me and do whatever was possible for him. And that made the process a lot more smooth and enjoyable for both of us. This way, I realized an intergenerational pattern which was dysfunctional for both genders in a way could be broken, and it did not neglect anyone's need. This was my learning of self care in the space of family. Finally, I will speak about my learning in the workplace. I noticed that when I perceive something as unfair in my workplace, I let my fears of loneliness and failure control me. And I choose to disconnect. I choose to not be in action. Uh, However, when I still myself in my values, however, when I still myself and anchor myself in my values, I get into action. And when I'm in action, I'm no longer alone, as others too get inspired to be in action. So there was this informal event at my workplace, which needed everyone's participation. Everyone needed to volunteer and set it up together. And I could see that no one was showing interest to participate or work. Um, I thought to myself that it's unfair. It made me angry. And I told myself that I should not participate either, as why should one person only work? And I was also not being in action, I was just sitting there. Um, there was this fear in me that if I do this alone, I would fail. And I would be alone. I would be doing something alone. I would not be able to do it. But how is it fair that I also do not do it? Because this event, it was an informal event, and it had like emotional value to some people. If it would not happen, it would actually affect them. So I thought to myself then that it won't be fair if no one does it, and at least I should be in action. And I was afraid that I was overwhelmed, that a lot of work is going to come, and I won't be able to handle it. However, I saw that people stepped up to support, and it became a really smooth and enjoyable process. And that got me thinking, if I had not taken action at that time, I would have missed out on this opportunity completely. So these are some of the ways in which I have, some of the ways out of others in which I have learned to practice self-care in my day-to-day life. And I am complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Monimoy, for sharing. Now, go ahead, Shweta.
So, Monimoy, when you say that, when I talk about self-care, it is for me as much as it is for others, that is vital. Sometimes we think we are, we have all the energy in the world. Yes, work can be addictive for some of us, but it's important to still take that pause and breathe and do what I need to do to still myself, to eat, take care of my needs. It's so vital. And I know that in the place that you are, work is extremely addictive and you feel the pressure to kind of be on the go, go, go. But when I pause, then I can do something. The other aspect that you said is, what can I do? What actions can I take so that I inspire others? So self-care is not for me to tell people, but it is for me to be in action from universal values so that I create a field for others to step into their greatness and be inspired. Right? And that's what inspired your father to assist you with cleaning up without you having to ask him. And probably this conversation would have gone on, would have been communicated with your mother, and maybe, things have changed a wee bit at home, right? Self-care is also about not commitment in intention, but commitment in action. So when I complete what I have to complete, I get a sense of, I experience a sense of accomplishment that is so vital in all our tasks, in our work. Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharif, may I maybe invite you?
Good evening, ma'am. My name is Mohammed Sharif. I stand for unity and equality for myself and others. Last time I also practiced in 2022 an RTL session. Day to day, I practice a day-to-day life in my field work or in my work. It helped a lot me in taking care for me and for others, how to learn and how to do work on the field basis or in personal basis or in other life basis. So I will tell one some experience what I learned from this and how I learned from this. Actually, when in auto field, when I'm asked to do tell to some person or anybody to any regarding to their doing something wrong or judging something wrong against me, so I use my universal value. First of all, I anchor myself in a universal value, and in a certain manner, I speak and politely and communicated them for to do this, and this is not the way to do. So, keeping me as a self care, I always used to tell in politely manner so they can understand what they're feeling and my feeling. So I always on the place when I say the person that you are doing this, this is not wrong, this is not good, this is wrong. So he not admire me to do say like that, and he not listen to me. So when I put my universal value, he politely respect me, and he know what I want. I was want to tell, and I want to he want to listen. This is personally having a outside the area where I am living, and the second thing is in my home itself. I learn how to care myself. Once my wife in a culture, there is a culture norm that women should cook at home, the man should not cook. So this was the I practiced when well in RTL that if you take your care, you will care yourself. Then it's good for you and not for uh, it's not for good for you. So I asked my wife for just sometimes he is not make breakfast, so I asked her to make brush. So sometimes he argue me. So at that time I quietly listen, and then I leave him, leave her, and then I thought that I should do myself by cooking. Then I done personally. I used to take breakfast. I do myself and leave to my office. I do. I continues to do like that. So for I have taken this action by uh, then this action. That's my wife was not just angry about me, but still why I handle the situation. Uh, by going to office or leaving to anywhere outside, she was thought that I am cooking, and he was very fine to very much looking nice to me. Then that time I was very happy. I thought that uh, caring myself or cooking myself or doing myself is better. So this is my universal value, which help us. I take the action, which commitment my action, and it is successful for my life also. And sometimes I'm going on field or anywhere. So this helped me lot of. The tools I have used of Sabda is helped me a lot. Uh, Before I am joining to this session, I was practicing stillness. So this is the most effective practice that with the stillness we are doing. Sometimes we are going some field work. Some we have to go some service person. So the persons we are not knowing, person was not good condition. So he's speaking in dangerous word. So that time we have to speak politely. So that's why I'm sometimes I'm taking my personal uh, uh, some stillness too when we are going to the field work. So this was the when my in my house I was very much my family was very much happy with me, and they always appreciated. We are doing. He approached me. He satisfied, and the success of my doing job with this field works or join with this our communities. With I join with my communities and my friends anywhere. So I have good knowledge or good field associate with me, and I work with them very uh, uh, for well-being my family or my for me, and that's how it's work. And second thing is that whenever I working on my fields, the peoples were used to say, "Why are you doing this job?" And the people's not aware what we are doing. So I asked some of my friends or some colleagues to join the we are community. We are working for our community, which is better for us. So I think uh, first of all, I should take an action. I should go and speak to them in a politely manner, or speak to them in the manner which they are friendly. And if I speak to them, it will go direct to their heart, not to their mind. So keeping this whole, I have to do my job in better way. So day to day life, I have been practicing through Sabda, which is lot of help me, and it is lot of to say this because still I am practicing this. I'm thanking to both of the people who have associate me and working me, and I am still looking forward to work with these peoples. And the most important is this: I've done this RTL work. It's helped more a lot of me. Still, I am working on that. Uh, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Sharif.
Okay.
You brought up this word SAFDA. So let me explain what SAFDA is as an acronym to the participants here. So in order to look at self-care, in order to practice self-care, we've come up with this acronym, which is S stands for stillness. I still myself, pretty much like the pause that both Monimoy and Sharif spoke about. A stands for, and when I still myself, I anchor myself in my universal values. Then I can notice the sensations in my body, because whenever I experience stress, I remember Sharif telling me that he used to be angry earlier when things were not done properly, when there was no food, he used to get angry. So he noticed that he was getting angry, and how? Through body sensations. It could be tightness of muscles, it could be palpitations, it could be anger, so it could be your body turning cold, all of that. That is what B is. Notice body sensations. F stands for notice my feelings. What feelings am I experiencing? Sharif spoke about anger. Monimoy spoke about frustration, right? So someone else can feel other emotions like sadness, like disgust. It could be anything. Okay. So notice my feelings. So that is SAF, sorry, SABF. Then comes discernment. A beautiful example of discernment is what Sharif gave us. He says, I was told that only women can cook. But then why can't I make my own breakfast, and why do I need to trouble my wife? Why can't I make breakfast for her? So he discerned that his anger is coming not because he's angry with his wife, but because of certain expectations that he's had, which are based on cultural norms. So when he was able to discern that, yes, I don't have to always depend on my wife, I can make my own breakfast, both for myself and for my wife and for my family, then he started making breakfast. Anger gone, right? So when I discern, then I can be assertive. So he says, when two people are doing things that are not to be done. So what was that thing that people are not to do, Sharif? Would you like to give a little example? Something that you did not want people to do that was not right?
Yeah, people what I trying to say, this is not good. That the people have, they doesn't means they don't ever about that. They don't ever about that. So I start doing myself. So
So
looking
what
that
is that that they are not aware about, Sharif?
yes, something like
Throwing garbage?
yeah, garbage, cleanliness, garbage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started removing that garbage myself. So looking this, they have realized and they started following me.
Notice what he's saying and look at the tone of voice. He's not angry with them. He's saying, I discern that they are not aware. So can I speak to them assertively and tell them this is not okay for our, not that you are doing wrong. This is not okay for us. And then be assertive and then be in action, pretty much like he did. Okay, if they're not throwing their garbage, can I take that garbage and throw it? And in doing so, he modeled for others. So that is what Safda is. Still myself, anchor myself in my universal values, notice my body sensations. B. F is notice my feelings. D is discernment. I discern the triggers, I discern whatever, and then I am able to be assertive, speak assertively, and be in action and take action. Love. Thank you, Sharif.
Thank you.
Noeli, can maybe invite you to share your learnings and your reflections.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Noelle Perez, and I stand for compassion, equity, and well-being for myself and all others. I am truly grateful to have participated in the self-care workshop back in 2022. I attended during a time where I really needed support in my life. I had just recently become a new mother and I was a working mom, taking on more significant leadership role at my job. So I was juggling a lot of many different responsibilities during that time, a lot of new responsibilities. During this time, I found myself feeling overwhelmed and neglecting my own self-care, rather than fostering it. I just felt like I just was feeling really stretched in all aspects of my life, at work, at home, with friendships. So participating in the workshop, during that time, I have learned to continue this practice. While I'm not perfect at doing it, being able to use these tools when I need them the most have been incredibly helpful in my self-care journey. And I do call it a journey because there's times where I do have some setbacks and it's hard to get back on track. But I have these tools now that can help me, really practice self-care. One of my favorite tools of this practice is sourcing from my universal values. I still, till this day, it is my favorite tool. It provides me with the foundation I need to pause and feel recharged whenever I find myself drifting away from from my own values. When this happens, I have learned to notice it, acknowledge it, and let it go. For example, recently I faced some difficult decisions at work that would impact certain roles within the organization. Through this process, I relied on my core values to guide me, ensuring that each decision I made was in alignment with my own personal universal values and our organizational values. And I feel like that made all the difference in terms of the decisions that were made and just how I wanted to approach the situation. Another thing that I learned, one important lesson I learned about the stress during this training is the identification of the four types of stressors, the hassle, stressful life events, toxic stress, and traumatic stress. Reflecting on my experiences, I realized that I have encountered each type of stress in my life, from everyday challenges to deeply traumatic ones. I have felt the effects of these stresses physically. For instance, I often find it difficult to concentrate or notice tension in a specific area of my upper body. For some reason, when I'm feeling really stressed, I start to notice just my right side tighten up and my muscles just feel really tight. And now that I'm able to really identify when I'm experiencing stress, I know that that's due to my stress instead of something else. So just understanding the different types of stressors and being able to identify them has helped me determine which self-care do I need at any given moment. So for example, when I'm feeling really stressed and I feel that same muscle tighten up, I know that, I really need to pause and walk, or I need to get up and really like stretch that area, because right now, like, I'm doing a disservice to myself if I continue to be in that um that mindset of feeling stress. So I feel like when I'm notice it, I'm able to really pause and take care of myself. And that has made a huge difference for me, because I feel like I grew up in a household where there was constant stress, and stress was just there was just no time to pay attention and notice and take care of oneself. It was always like go, 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 give, give, give. And I have noticed how that has really impacted me in the way I have dealt with stress in the past. Um, and now I'm happy to say that I feel like, although again, I'm not perfect, I feel like I find myself dealing with stress in a way that's healthy for me, and it's not affecting my overall well-being. Because I feel like during that time, especially during the time that I did the training, it was really affecting me emotionally, physically. So yeah, so that's another thing I learned. The last thing I want to share is during my participation in the training, I noticed I was highly reactive to stress, as I mentioned. So the training really helped me to find stillness and identify my feelings, enabling me to respond without compromising my well-being. So something I just shared. I just felt like there was such a switch that happened within me about the way that I responded to stress. It was always a reactive form where I was like affecting others. So I feel like through the training, I had a lot of self-awareness that my stress sometimes projected onto others because I was not able to manage it within myself. So I felt like the training, just being in stillness and identifying my feelings, and even saying the I statements like I feel this right now, or I feel that right now, just made a huge difference in the way that I not now that I, you know, deal with stress. It significantly increased my self-awareness, allowing me to recognize and articulate the sources of my stress. I learned that these stressors stem from cultural systems and norms, as well as my own background conversations and fears. Although it's a practice, and sometimes I do need to reach out to my support system for help, I do feel like right now I do have tools that really help me before I, end up in a situation where I'm not helping myself. So it's good to have learned some of those tools, and really being able to know that it's okay to pause and really just source from what I need in order to take care of myself. And I know that sometimes that's really, really hard, but even just taking that 2 seconds to breathe, as I have learned here, makes all the difference. Makes all the difference. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Anueli. The 2 seconds to breathe, the 2-second pause is so vital for us. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you brought up something very significant. As women, we are taught to give. We are taught to be on the go, go, go. and to juggle the multiple commitments that each of us have, whether man or woman or any other gender, it doesn't matter. But for us to juggle the multiple commitments we have, this constant rat race that we are in, and makes us forget that we need to take that 2-second breath to focus on self. And therefore, we learn over time to overlook our, the experiences of stress in our body, the body sensations. So in that 2-minute pause, in that 2-minute catching of my breath and stillness, I can notice how my body is in the moment. Mm-hmm. Like you said, I notice the right side of my body gets tense. So that is an indicator that I need to do something about it. I need to take action about it rather than ignore and brush it under the carpet. So can I learn to practice that? Can I exercise that muscle of recognition, noticing, naming, and be in action? That is so vital, no? Mm-hmm. And what I can't give myself, how can I give others? Because if I don't pause, I will not let others pause too. I will expect people to be on the go, go, go. Lovely. Thank you, Noeli. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We now open the floor for people to ask questions, if you have any, or comments. And maybe we will have everybody on the in here, Noeli, Monemoy, Glassika as well. Okay. So please ask, if you have any questions, please raise your electronic hand and then we will spotlight you. Please turn your video on so that we can spotlight you. Yes, so that Jyotsna, can you please turn your video on? And you too, Kritika. Yes. All right, please go ahead, Sudha.
Yeah. My name is Sudha. I stand for full potential, empathy and compassion for myself and others. It was wonderful listening to all of you. And I also saw the first video on the YouTube. And I was just thinking through the journey in RTL. And I thought this program would have more appeal for others. And more individuals are likely to come for this program. The way it is, I think the tools, which I would like to have inputs, the tools which we learn in RTL Here and Now, and this, how are they different? Or I would like to know the difference between both of them. So to tell others also.
Okay. So would any of you like to answer the speakers, or would you like us to take this forward? Okay. So, like we said, this course is based on transdisciplines, multiple disciplines, and that's the beauty about RTL. No? We draw upon psychology, we draw upon neuroscience, we draw upon leadership, we draw upon systems thinking to be able to design this course. So this course is specifically about how do I deal with myself, how do I care for myself. At the same time, we draw upon RTL tools such as, the conscious full spectrum response model, because that's a foundational model for this course as well. We look at respond and realize template. We use the various tools that we have learned and distinctions we have learned in RTL. And all of these are contained within, experiences of caring for self at home, in the workplace and in society. So it's largely about how do I notice and how do I care for myself, and in the process become a fully functioning human being so that I can realize my full potential. That is what it is. So we use, okay, so broadly the objectives of the program are for me to source my universal values and to engage with people so that we can together co-create a very a caring world for well-being. This is also to empower myself and to heal myself. We are not saying that if you do this course, then you don't need therapeutic interventions. Of course, we need therapeutic interventions. Along with therapeutic interventions, how can I heal and how can I empower myself? Like we saw and like we heard Sharif speak, much of our diminishing practices come from, or stresses also come from diminishing cultural norms. Okay, how can I convert these diminishing cultural norms into life-enhancing practices like Sharif was able to make breakfast for himself and for the family? Okay, how do I look at, how do I create spaces for care and inclusions and promoting well-being so that I become, I learn to befriend stress and I become more resilient. That is what this course is all about.
Is this available in other languages also?
At this point, we only have in English. We have we've done a trial in Tamil, but we are happy to I guess so. We are happy to offer it in other languages, provided there is a need.
Okay. Fine. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sudha. Jyotsna?
Yeah, pretty much the same question which I had. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. My name is Jyotsna. I stand for equity, harmony, and peace for myself and others. Pretty much the same question as Sudha was asking, but yeah, maybe additionally, I would like to ask, what are the 4 kind of stresses? If you can just throw some light on it.
Okay, so Noeli mentioned the 4 kinds of stresses. She spoke about hassles. Hassles are what are everyday events that actually cause us to experience discomfort. Then we have stressful situations. Okay, it could be, like a loss of job or whatever. It could be toxic stress where I have experienced in a prolonged manner, I've experienced difficulties, whether it's discrimination at work, because of disability, because of gender, because of any other reason. And it can be traumatic stress that is deep and has many, many layers underneath it. In this course, we only deal with hassles and stressful situations. We do not deal with toxic stress and traumatic stress because that requires expert professional help.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Just wanted some clarity on that. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Welcome. Kritika?
Yes, Gayatri. Sorry.
Oh, yes. Sorry, Gayatri. Please add.
Yeah, thank you. I think Sabda is such a beautiful coming together of multiple tools so that we can deal with stress in the moment. And when we deal that way, we bring transformative changes. We are not just only doing certain mindfulness or certain psychological or only dealing with the mind, but for me, it has been self-care. I have started seeing as befriending stress for empowering actions. It's that's the difference I see in this.
Wow. Yes, yeah. I hope I'll be able to do it too.
Okay. You're most welcome to join us, Jyotsna.
Sure, I would. I'd love to do so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for two months, right? If I got you right.
Yes, it's 3 days a week, 2 hours, 8:30 to 9:30 in the night, which is 8 o'clock to. I understand, Noeli, that Nami is not coming in just now. That's all right. But in case others are interested, you may want to inform them. And I'll talk about it at the end of the session. But in the meanwhile, we'll listen to Kritika. Please, Kritika.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Kritika and I stand for integrity and harmony for myself and others. My question was more generic, was why RTL we don't use the word habits? And is it seen as we talk a lot about practice. I'm wondering why we don't talk about habits. Or what does it actually mean? What's the distinction between it? Nobody says put a habit of being or practicing stillness. No, none of us use that language in RTL. So I'm wondering, why is habit not a term? Just out of curiosity.
I may not have the answer, but I'm going to attempt. Okay. In RTL, we talk about embodied cognition. Okay. So when I practice, this is an opportunity for me to embody it so that it becomes a part of me. Okay. Now, and when I take action that becomes a part of me, it is like my second nature. Pretty much like what Sharif said, now I don't wait for others to cook for me. I cook on my own. I'm very happy with the work I do. People initially, I had fear, but then about what people will say, but then I learned to deal with that fear. And now I take pride in my work. Now that is a deliberate attempt he has made to be able to practice, the tools that he's learned. Okay. Now, when he has practiced this, he's made a deliberate attempt to do this. And this conscious attempt is therefore based on universal values, just like he said. Okay. Habits are value neutral, no? So they don't have, they're neither good nor bad, they're just so. But when I want to bring about a change and generate a result, I need to be in full potential. And this is every moment practice, not a habit. Because when I practice, I'm practicing also, I'm acting from my universal values. That's why. Yeah.
Mix, yeah. All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Sudarshan. All right. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to ask questions? We have another 3 minutes for this. Or comments? Yes, Sudarshan, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
My name is Sudarshan. I stand for freedom, harmony, and justice for myself and others. I think my comment is more a reflection and an insight. And then I had a question to which anyone can look at, which is in the context of self-care, well-being, and mental health. So my first comment or reflection is that it's related to what Monimoy and many of the others, what even Noeli and even Sharif referred to, the interdependence of well-being. So my self-care can create self-care or well-being for others. And it's the moment that actually gave me that insight was Monimoy's sharing about having a meal with her parent, with her father. It's not about her self-being, and I'm relating to my own experiences with my parents. I mean, when I am stressed and not working and they're stressed too, and even if I choose to have a meal with them and I'm mentally not there, they know that. They can sense it. So I'm transferring my stress to them. And what they yearn for is me to be fully present. So it's not about the transaction of time, it's the quality of time and the way I spend time that creates a sense of well-being for myself, but then that transfers to the others because that's what every parent wants, right? That wholesome, fully present. So that was the first insight related to the interdependence. That self-care is kind of that well-being is infectious, not infectious. Infection is interdependent and can transmit to others. Others' well-being is related to my being, and my well-being can help others. I can foster well-being in others, fostering each other. So that was the first thing, and I think it's our relationship with time. I think the reference to each person talked about stillness and being fully present is quality for myself and the other person, which actually creates. It's not about how much time I spend with my parent. It's about how well I spend whatever time that I get to spend. So that was my first thing, and whether it was Sharif or Noeli and Manimoy who talked about the make. My second is a question of this very nature of interdependence and the fallacy of counseling. I won't say fallacy, but the notion that counseling and self-care, because I think what all of you are referring to is cultural norms, interdependence, but the conventional focus on self-care is about multiple dimensions. But the question I had was about resilience, and where does that start? Where does that begin? Where does counseling fit in that space? Any form of. I just want to note the connections between that, because all of you refer to the cultural context. And the interdependence is definitely illustrated in this, but I was just wanting to know the threads between that. So I don't know if I'm articulating it myself well, but it's just as a layperson in this space, the connection between all of them that I've just mentioned. So if anyone can just reflect, the examples illustrate all of that, but I just wanted to look at that resilience dimension of it. In the long run, how does this particular workshop or the tools look at the resilience of an individual?
Monimoy, would you want to elaborate on your last exam learning? Because that was a good reflection of resilience at the workplace that you spoke about.
I'm not, if you could just paraphrase Sudarshan's question once.
Okay, Sudarshan wants to know, how does resilience play out, or how does self-care address or foster resilience? Or how is self-care and resilience interrelated? But before you speak, Monima, I want to just share one thing. So when Sudarshan talks about transmitting well-being, if I am well, others are also well, that is because it's in the outer circle. Well-being is a universal value. When I stand for well-being for myself and others, resilience for myself and others, it is the outer circle, and fractals are formed that way. No? When outer circles meet each other and they synergize and they create the energy that is required to move the actions forward, to move the shifts. So that's why this ability, when I am in well-being, I create a space for well-being in others. This is pretty much like when I am in my anchored in my universal values, I generate others. I mean, I generate a field and invite others to step into their greatness. That's the power of universal values. And that's where we see the interdependence. So, Manima, would you like to talk about resilience and because you gave that example beautifully about resilience?
So
Gayatri, after Manima, is that okay? Or please go ahead, Manima.
So the last example was about the workplace and how,
Yes.
So in that entire thing, in that the preparation of the event, I was afraid. I was afraid that I would fail because I would be alone. And I was afraid that I would fail because no one else was showing interest. And at that time I was not anchored in my universal values, and a lot of like very unhelpful thoughts were also coming into my mind. That was not a very healthy or helpful state. However, when I sat and thought that this doesn't align with my values, and when I would actually pause and think anchored in my values, I will see that the fears will be there, but how about I just act? Because if I act, then at least something will happen, even if it's not an entire success. And I think that is resilience in a way, because when I am so afraid of failing, I am down. But I'm kind of coming back up when I'm saying that whatever will happen, we'll see, but let's be in action. And like Srilata just mentioned, that it's almost like these people, these outer circles of people meeting, and it becomes like attraction. So I never thought that would be, it was a surprise for me when I started acting. I actually saw people coming and asking me, what can we do, tell? And I was actually, I had doubts about their intention. So that doubt also came when I was down, when I did not, when I was afraid, when I was in my fears. So it's a very bonding of resilience kind of moment when everyone just came in and started working together. And then it was not a overwhelming moment anymore, because then it was not the responsibility of one person. It got divided in a beautiful way. I would like to add also, Sudarshan asked, where does counseling fit into all of this? So counseling, as much as I understand, is a very individual sort of work where I'm not talking about group work here, but if like everyone will have their fears, everyone will have their uh, we all grow up in the system, so uh, we all believe in certain things that is taught to us, that yes, people are going to be selfish, you can't do things alone. So these are things that are kind of taught to us, but counseling can combat that in a way that if I actively engage in self-awareness, getting to know myself, then probably I will be more resilient. So that is all.
Gayatri?
So just to quickly make that distinction, how do you what happens in counseling, or what is different if we apply Sabda or RTL in therapeutic space? So counseling or court, I work in the court setting, so court clinic. All of us are typically trained to respond, or to address the symptoms of the problem, and we have some goals, we have achieved that, and not necessarily that it accomplishes the full potential or well-being or resilience that because it looks very complicated, or it doesn't fit into our timeline, the typical manner speaking. uh, However, if we apply Sabda, or if we apply RTL, every child, sometimes I make an RTL project, it's very different, because then the relational space that child grow is a family, the schools, and when that shifts, it's happiness, and children can discover, and we can co-create that enabling impact. So that's different.
So thank you, Gayatri and Monimoy. Counseling is, as you said, is a technical solution, an inner circle response. And I hear you say that Sabda is a full spectrum response. Got that. Okay, thank you. Kritika.
Okay, so this question is, so when I met a therapist for a while, maybe 2 years ago, and I felt the process made me think about myself more than others. And I couldn't continue it because I felt that I'm not being myself, because I'm always protecting myself. That I know that, okay, this is a toxic work environment. I have to set my boundaries. And in that space, I thought the focus was more on myself, on keeping my headspace clear. But I was also not very present for others, because I felt my head was full. I don't have the capacity to, like yesterday's thing, that I can't take somebody's complaint because I'm so full from it. I can't be present for others. And it's been a worry, and I couldn't go back to therapy because of that. And I felt that I'm there is a conflict between who I am or who I'm comfortable being to what I was not told to practice, but what I was beginning to practice. That's a bit of a worry in my head. That will I become so partial to being fully present when I'm always thinking about what is good for me? And I think what is good for me is also good for everybody. Will it get to my head? Yeah, I don't know if I'm conveying it correctly, but it's very plainly that was my concern, and I didn't go back because of that. I thought that I'm turning into a very selfish person, and I'm not a selfish person. But yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. Go ahead, Gayatri.
Yeah, I just lost my, but I just wanted to say, yeah, it was, I feel you. And mainly, yes, therapy may heal us from our trauma if we've carried some wounds in us. All of us have. But however, would it really, help us be who we truly are and manifest ourselves for our own growth and others' growth? And our growth lies in when others grow with us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that reminds me of the poem that, I cannot be who I ought to be until you are who you ought to be. And you cannot be who you ought to be until I am who I ought to be. Yeah, that's interdependence. All life is interrelated. Munimoy, please go ahead.
Yes, what Kritika pointed out is also about how, like, we discuss that we are a collectivistic society, and a lot of therapy, whatever, how we understand and learn therapy is from a Western lens, where it's an individualistic lens. So that interdependence thing that is so inherent in us, and therapy often doesn't kind of, like, it doesn't tailor make interventions to your culture and how you grow up. So maybe a therapist who takes all of that into account, you'll be able to relate better or work better with that therapist.
So Kritika, I'd like to reiterate. Thank you, Monimai. I'd like to reiterate, Kritika, that counseling therapy is an inner circle response. Okay, and you use the word a toxic work environment. So what must shift so that you are able to be sensitive and be in universal values for yourself and others is a question you ask yourself, which I think you have asked yourself.
Yeah.
And done and taken action on that.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So thank you all very much. And for participating in this webinar. A very quick, we want to give you very quick information about the upcoming workshop. We begin the workshop on the 4th of August. We meet every 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, from 8:30 to 10:30 at night. And we offer 18 sessions between 4th of August and the 3rd week of September. And all the details are available on the website. We are happy to share the details. We will also send out the flyer to you. Please feel free to register, and please feel free to pass the word around to people who are interested. And we look forward to seeing you at the webinar. At the workshop.
And Shulata, before that, may I make a request? If we can
Yes,
have a screenshot, and then we have a poem, short poem.
Yes.
So everyone, if that is okay, I would like to take the screenshot. If you all can start your video. Here.
Have you done, Lasika?
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
over to you, Gayatri, to read the closing quote.
Asika will be sharing.
Yes, I can share.
Human beings, when they stand in their inner greatness, united in commitment, are unstoppable. Our commitment to embody our full potential and take action to benefit self and others is the way to create a world in which we all thrive. Monica Shin.
Thank you, everyone.